While most of us in the crypto space love the idea of governance being performed by a simple majority, this is just too much for a lot of businesses to take, directly putting their company in the hands of people with nothing to lose. Hedera Hashgraph, however, seemed to have figured out a way of creating a decentralized platform that still has the security and the stability that could appeal to those big enterprises. So stick around and let's talk about it. Hey guys, I'm Sprague, and the Hedera platform kind of goes against a lot of what crypto is about, where they're actually empowering global businesses, and they've even gone as far as to patent their implementation of a DAG. But like Ripple, Hedera's target market isn't the end user or retail investor. It's actually to create a platform that big businesses and enterprises know they can trust. If we view decentralized computing from the standpoint of one of these large businesses, a major concern they might have is the concept of hard forking. Hard forking is where a significant enough protocol changes to the software that each node is running to create an almost identical duplicate version of the initial chain. What this means is that all of the events up until that point are essentially replicated and duplicated onto a new version of that coin. Now, this doesn't have any effect on the initial network. However, what then ends up happening is that you have two competing blockchains running the same code side by side, vying for market dominance. This is exactly what happened to create Bitcoin Cash, which is where protocol changes were made to Bitcoin, which then spun off into their own coin. It's using this that Hedera tried to justify their patenting, saying that a hard fork could cause distrust in the user base, split the community, and therefore turn off businesses from using the platform. The Hashgraph technology, which is just an implementation of a DAG, or directed acyclic graph, was created back in 2015 by Lehman Baird and Mance Harmon, who then went on to found Swirls. After this, a new entity called Hedera was created, later renamed as Hedera Hashgraph, which was tasked with further developing and governing the Hedera platform. For an explanation on what a DAG is, I explain it in my nano video up here, and if you're enjoying the content, please do consider subscribing. Similarly to most second and third generation blockchains, Hedera's lists of hurdles that they aim to overcome are actually shared by most: performance, security, stability, and governance. However, Hedera do actually add one extra concern onto this list that most other chains do not include, and that is regulatory compliance. As Elizabeth Warren recently stated, crypto is like the new Wild West, with little to no lawmaking, regulation, or stability. To some this might seem great, but for governments to really allow crypto to thrive, they need to look out for their citizens, and what this means is that as crypto comes more and more into the mainstream, regulation will follow. Fortunately, Hedera believe that they have actually solved these concerns. For example, for performance, by using a DAG and its asynchronous nature, they are actually currently able to achieve 10,000 transactions per second. However, they believe that once sharding has been implemented, they will be able to achieve a theoretical unlimited transactions per second. For security, Hedera has actually implemented a variation on the widely popular PBFT security model. Quick refresher up here for those that don't really know what that is. In Hedera's asynchronous Byzantine fault-tolerant protocol, they have done away with block leaders, because it's widely known that block leaders can actually be subject to DDoS attacks and network communication failures, which can lead to halting the network or in some cases even double spends. Instead, the way that they achieve consensus is by making sure that anyone can submit a transaction and that the order in which the transactions are submitted will be the order that they are written to the ledger. On top of this, they have made sure that this code has been publicly available since 2016 for anyone to review, so you at least know they are confident in their claims. Governance, however, is the main area where Hedera strays away from the path that most cryptocurrencies take, and instead takes a page out of Ripple's book. Governance on the Hedera network is performed by a council of up to 39 leading businesses and enterprises. This is to make sure that what happens on the Hedera platform is what's best for big businesses and not just for retail traders. The plan is to eventually allow for permissionless governance. However, as it stands currently, all governance is handled by the council. Now, it's Hedera's solution for stability where I think most people start to have a problem with the core ideals of this coin. Instead of opting for an open source code base like pretty much every other cryptocurrency to date, Hedera's code is public but not open, and they've gone one step further by actually patenting their design. I can understand people's ire over the closed nature of Hedera. However, I think that to truly understand what Hedera is aiming to achieve, you need to take off the utopian-coloured lens that the rest of crypto casts, with its vision of fairness and equality, and instead treat Hedera as exactly what it is: a business. This is especially evident in the fact that Hedera actually went as far as to patent their design, which is virtually unheard of in the crypto space, however extremely prevalent in the business world. Hedera isn't trying to empower the little guy or let people create the next Dogecoin. Instead, they are trying to create a platform that big businesses can rely on and trust. And this is just as important for crypto's mainstream adoption as everything else that's going on. This does also mean that they can stop nodes from running versions of the Hedera platform that don't conform with the rest of the network. This and the fact that the council can schedule updates to the entire network, which means that any node that doesn't get updated is blocked from then submitting transactions or offering up its version of the ledger as truth, means that they have essentially eliminated any chance of hard forking. I do personally, however, have a problem with the patent on their design of the Hashgraph, because these two technical capabilities alone are enough to stop the chain from hard forking. The patent is not needed to stop this from occurring, and therefore leads me to believe that the patent is only there to stop someone else from taking the Hashgraph design and creating a competing currency. Now, this makes absolute sense in the business world, however in the cryptocurrency space this seems very anti-competitive, where up until this point most efforts have been collaborative. This at the end of the day though is really a very minor concern, given that I am not Hedera's target market. This is also not to say that the code is closed source. As I mentioned, the code is public for any developer to download, build and verify as they wish, and in fact there's even monetary incentive for people to try and find security or just code problems within the Hedera platform. As for the regulatory concerns that Hedera posed, they have designed their platform with future regulations in mind, allowing for the requesting and attachment of additional data to every transaction, such as identifying documents for the parties involved. This means that the businesses using Hedera can still adhere to KYC or Know Your Customer and other legal obligations they have to uphold. So we've covered the platform, which is extremely promising to say the least, if not a little bit too business-minded for some. But what about the HBAR token? The HBAR is a utility token on the Hedera platform, which allows for the paying of computational costs when running smart contracts, transaction fees, and also for staking. Similar to in DPoS systems, if an HBAR holder doesn't want to run a node themselves, they can do what's called proxy staking. By doing this, what they are doing is providing their HBAR to a selected node to participate in consensus. This varies from DPoS, where normally in delegated proof-of-stake systems, all of the validators are nominated or elected by the network. By contrast, on the Hedera platform, you can proxy stake to any node on the network. Also, similarly to other platforms, there is a max cap put on how many tokens a single node can stake with. This effectively means that users of the network are encouraged to proxy stake to nodes that have less tokens than others, aiding in decentralization. This does, however, bring us onto token distribution, which is another area that some people take issue with how Hedera have handled things. Of the 50 billion HBAR supply, only 3.6% were initially released, with 17% of the tokens being sold at SAFT sales, or Simple Agreement for Future Tokens. This is essentially where participants buy the tokens at a particular price point, but don't receive the tokens until they have come into circulation. Unfortunately, it does, however, seem like there was some price suppression happening because these initial SAFT investors were dumping their supplies of HBAR. However, this really doesn't actually say much for the project, other than the fact that those investors wanted to take profit. This means that as it stands, only 8 billion of the 50 billion supply of HBAR has actually been released into circulation. If we take the current market cap but instead sub in 50 billion for the number of tokens in supply, we would find that instead of being 21 cents as of the time of writing the script, each HBAR would only be worth 3.6 cents. Saying this, however, if HBAR manages to reach the market cap of ETH, even with a fully diluted supply, it would still be worth $5.85, which is an upside of 28 times. And the thing is, I do only have a couple of concerns for HBAR. One of which is that because of their stance towards retail investors and instead building a platform aimed at businesses, they'll turn off a lot of the cryptocurrency purists who believe that crypto should be open source and equal. And due to the fact that currently the market is predominantly filled with these people and with retail investors and not the businesses that Hedera is currently aiming at, means that there is a high probability that the chains that are marketing better to the masses will end up picking up those big businesses, despite not being as good a platform for it as Hedera is. And secondly, until permissionless governance is implemented on the Hedera platform, you can't really call the network decentralized, with only 19 organizations effectively holding power over the entire thing. But all in, Hedera is actually a great platform, with some verifiably great tech to back it up. If I missed anything out, got anything wrong, or you love to hate the Hedera platform, leave me a comment down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Bye.